morning, my dearest student. Today we are going to start with Staphysagria. I, Dr. Priya Shetty, MD Homoeopathic Medicine from Anantrao Kanse Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital, going to teach you about Staphysagria, a materia medica drug which is really very important in 3rd BHMS syllabus. Basically, this remedy is really very important in female complaints. It can come in your exam as a constitutional remedy. It will also ask as a drug picture, and some short notes will be asked on this. Okay, so this is really very important remedy for your practice purpose also and exam purpose also. This remedy is also important remedy which used in homeopathic practice for day-to-day life. Okay, in female complaints it is really very important, but also in male complaints it's also very important remedy. Okay. So we will start with Staphysagria. Staphysagria is basically a plant remedy. Come up with the plant group and having a very beautiful purple or bluish color flowers. These flowers you will get in a bunch. Okay, I'll show you the next picture. So introduction, Delphinium Staphysagria. It is also called as Delphinium Staphysagria. This remedy was known to the ancient Greeks and Romans. Okay, this remedy was used in Greek and Roman basically for antidote purpose. Okay, it was taken internally to cause vomiting and purge bowels, used externally in form of ointment as an antidote to stings and bites. So whenever patient is going to eat something which is not proper, you need to vomit it out. In such cases you have to give it internally, and externally whenever there is a lot of stings and bites and some honeybee bites. Likewise, you have to give this remedy ointment in ointment form or externally as an external application. It has a lovely purple blue flowers and it's raw, and basically this is really very important line from this introduction. In its raw form it is highly poisonous. Okay, historically it was used to kill vermins. This is really very beautiful, but it is very poisonous remedy. Okay, now we will move further towards the introduction. What is introduction about the Staphysagria? Common name Staphysagria, family Ranunculaceae, prover Hahnemann. Dr. Hahnemann himself has been proved this remedy, which gives a lot of important in our practice. Okay, Dr. Hahnemann said he almost proved some 90 or 100 remedies which are really important in your practice. Okay, so prover is Dr. Hahnemann. Temperament is melancholic. Melancholic temperament, having a nervous and sad mood always, which gives you a lot of emotionality. Okay, emotional sphere is really very marked in this remedy. So temperament is melancholic. Thermally, this remedy is very chilly. These people feel cold very easily. Miasm is sauropsychotic. This remedy we basically not used in syphilitic miasm, but psoriatic and psychosis you will get, psychotic miasm you will get prominently in this remedy. Now we will move towards the further slide, that is sphere of action and clinical condition. What is the sphere of action of this remedy? Mind. On mind there is anger and fits of mania and self abuse. Anger fits off. What do you mean by anger fits off? There is lot of anger which leads to lot of complaints, a violent anger, a trembling anger. In anger patient can throw the things away. Such type of anger fits of anger you will get in this remedy. There is mania is basically a symptoms, or basically mania is a mental trouble in which euphoria or some excitement will seen very easily. This is periodical mental illness. Okay, there is self abuse you will understand very easily. There is self abuse, such type of mental symptoms, such type of sphere of action on mind you will get in this remedy. Genitourinary organ, in males there is a paraplegism, sexual excitability, dyspnea during coition, masturbation effects of prostate affection of, and spermatoria. Paraplegism means painful and continuous erection of the penis. Okay, so in males, whenever there is a paraplegism or whenever there is a continuous erection of penis which is really very painful, you can use this remedy. There is lot of excitability, there is lot of sexual excitability which leads to complaints. Dyspnea during coition, so this patient can really say no to the coition. Okay, they really hate coition because of such complaints. There is dyspnea during coition. Masturbation effects of masturbation effect, if you are going to look towards the masturbation effect, there is lot of a problem with early ejaculation. Okay, so masturbation can lead to early ejaculation. In such condition you can use Staphysagria. Prostate affection, prostate megaly or prostate enlargement of benign enlargement of prostate, you can again use this remedy. And there is continuous spermatoria, that is continuous oozing of sperm through the penis. Okay, this is about the male genital organs or male genitourinary organs. In female, this remedy is used for honeymoon cystitis. Honeymoon cystitis, what do you mean by honeymoon cystitis? Honeymoon cystitis is the disease or it is the complaints which you will get in females, especially newly married girls who are not used to sexual contact, and suddenly they will start with the sexual contact and they will get some pain and they will get some cystitis, they will get burning micturition, increased frequency of micturition. And in such cases you can use this remedy without any hesitation, without any repertorization. This is specific remedy for honeymoon cystitis. Okay, then this remedy is also used for cystocele. Cystocele means for bulging of urinary bladder in vagina. Okay, and dyspareunia. Dyspareunia means painful intercourse. Okay, so this is important remedy. I said, as I already said, this is really very important remedy in females. This also in males and also in females, this become very important and very useful remedy in your practice. Okay, there are joint affection. Next we will move further. There are joint affection, gastrointestinal tract, gastritis, dysentery, gastralgia you will get. Okay, in gastrointestinal tract there is gastritis, inflammation of mucosa of stomach, there is dysentery and gastralgia. Gastralgia is neurologic pain of the stomach. There are neuralgic pain, there are loose stool, there is dysentery, there is gastritis. Such complaints you will get in this remedy. Respiratory organ, there are some affections on respiratory organs. Skin, you can use this remedy for eczema, ulcers, injury, warts, etc. Eczema, basically eczema can be allergic, eczema can be non-allergic. This is also called as a dermatitis. There are ulcers on the skin, lot of ulcers. It can be small, it can be large. But Staphysagria, whenever you are going to think about the Staphysagria, you need to understand, basically you need to understand about it mental complaint, and then you can go further. Okay, if mentals are matching properly, you can go further. Then nervous, there are neuralgia, there is post operative pain, and there is sciatica. In nerves affection, whenever you are going to look towards the nerves, okay, nervous affection you are going to get in mental complaints, and in nerves you are going to get neuralgia. There is lot of pain, there is post operative pain. I don't remember I told you or not about it, but whenever the cesarean sections occurs, okay, whenever delivery through cesarean sections occur, there is LSAS. In gynecological hospitals, if you have seen, patient get lot of pain after that operative. Okay, and in such cases we can use Staphysagria. I had used Staphysagria after cesarean sections, which leads to a lot of comfort in the patient. Along with Staphysagria, I also used Belisper. Belisper is the remedy for your abdominal complaints. Okay, abdominal sections. This homeopathic remedy gives a lot of strength to the patients. Okay, this remedy is also important remedy for sciatica. When you are going to think about homeopathic remedy in such cases, like after operatives or before operatives or in emergency cases, you need to understand the pathological sphere of the remedy. At that time you cannot understand mental symptoms. Okay, mental symptoms you will get in a chronic complaints. Okay, whenever there are a lot of chronic complaint like sciatica. Sciatica is a chronic complaints like uh, like continuous sty or continuous chalazion, recurrent chalazion or like recurrent sty. You can think about the mental complaint, but whenever you are going to handle an emergency, at that time you need to understand the pathological basis of that uh, remedy. Okay, then only you can understand this remedy or this condition, or then only you can handle that situation very properly. So this remedy is very important for your post operative pains. Okay, then fibrous tissue. Fibrous tissue, there are sty formation of styes and chalazion in eye complaints, recurrent styes and recurrent chalazion. Staphysagria is specific remedy for this. There are glands affection, lymph node affection you will get in this remedy. Teeth, there is toothache, caries and scurvy. Toothache, a lot of toothache in this patient you will get. There is caries and scurvy. There is bleeding through the gums, which leads to lot of pains. Okay, so this is all about sphere of action. Now we'll move towards the constitution. Move towards the next slide. What is constitution? Constitution of Staphysagria is indicated in the first place in the patient who appear as a pale, are worn out and exhausted, especially as regards their nervous system. Okay, so Staphysagria is always indicated in the first place. What do you mean by first place? Whenever you are going to look that patient, you have to think about Staphysagria. Okay, this patient really appear pale. You will get paleness on their hand, on their face. You will look at them and you will say this patient is anemic, he is really pale or she is really pale. Okay, they are worn out, they are really very exhausted, really very weak. You will feel that weakness and that exhaust feeling. Okay, exhausted feeling, especially as regard their nervous system. Especially in their nervous system you will get such type of complaints. Both brain and spinal cord are weakened. It is said that both brain and spinal cord are weakened because there is lot of exhaustedness or there is lot of weakness which leads to uh, complaints in this patient. The face is rather sunken, the nose is picked and pointed. Face, you will look that sunken look. Okay, in children's, if the children had lot of diarrhea, you will get that sunken look. Okay, and such sunken look you will get. But nose is always picked and pointed, and the eyes are sunken and surrounded by blue ring. Okay, blue discoloration or bluish ring you will get around the eyes with guilty and abashed look. There is lot of guilt in their mind. You will look at that patient and you will understand that guilty look. Okay, and abashed look, idiotic look you will get in this patient. This patient craves for tobacco. They really like tobacco, they craves for tobacco, and they are having warts and unhealthy skin. Okay, there are lot of warts, there are lot of warts and eczemas and unhealthy skin which we had seen in sphere of action. There are ulcers, there are lot of conditions which you will get in skin. So this is all about the constitution of Staphysagria. We'll again revise it because it is really very important. It is indicated in the first place in the patient who appear pale and worn out and exhausted, especially as regard the nervous system. Both brain and spinal cord are weakened. The face is rather sunken and the nose is picked and pointed, and the eyes are sunken and surrounded by blue ring with guilty and abashed look, who craves for tobacco, having wart and unhealthy skin. Okay, now we will move further towards the mind. Now mind, I had used only a single slide for word mind. Mind is really very important in the cases of Staphysagria and in homeopathic practice. Okay, so mind, if you are going to look towards the mind, Staphysagria, if you are going to look towards the element from factor. What do you mean by element from? Element from mean the causative causative part, okay, wherever causation has been occurred. Okay, so causes of the mental symptoms or causes of the mental trouble, you will get in, you will get all the causes of trouble only in mind section. Okay, so element from indignation. Now what do you mean by indignation? Indignations mean anger or annoyance provoked by what is perceived as unfair treatment, unjustifiable treatment. Okay, so whenever there is something unfair, something unjustifiable, you will get lot of anger or lot of annoyance. Something you will feel this is really very annoying, or I cannot handle this. Such anger you will get after unfair treatment, and this is nothing but a indignation, and such indignation will lead a lot of complaint. Okay, elements from mortification. What do you mean by mortification? Mortification means great embarrassment, lot of embarrassment and shamefulness. It leads to lot of complaints. Okay, now we are discussing about elements from mortification and Staphysagria. Let me tell you one simple acute case about this complaint. Okay, so whenever you are going to look towards the Staphysagria about the mortification in school going children. Okay, she was almost 7 or 8 years child who was really very jolly by nature, really very happy go lucky children, and very chill. Okay, she was really very fantastic look wise, she was really very good, and some paleness was on her face always. So she came with her mother, and her mother told, she didn't said anything to the doctor. Okay, she directly sit on that chair, and her parents, her mother was sitting next to her, and she started with the complaints. Okay, she's really very jolly, she's really very cool, she's really very calm, her performance in the school is really very good, but since few days she become suddenly very calm, and she don't reply fast. She started making mistakes while writing and while reading, and she had a continuous UTI. Okay, continuous UTI means what? When doctor asked, "What do you mean by continuous UTI?" She said there is lot of increased frequency of micturition, and she need to go to pass urine really very frequently, and having burning micturition, and she said there is pain in abdomen. Okay, she had received some allopathic treatment for that, but really not having effect, or really not having any relief with these complaints. Okay, so mother was asked to sit outside of the OPD, and doctor or homeopathic practitioner only talked to that child. Okay, and she said, and she directly asked what happened in the school. She said, my teacher was angry with me, and she shouted so loudly, which I really cannot handle. I really feel shame on myself. Okay, this shame is nothing but a mortification. This element from mortification leads to such huge complaint, such troublesome complaint in that child, and which leads to a lot of further problem. Only 3 doses of Staphysagria cured that child within 3 days. Okay, so this is about the case of elements from mortification and Staphysagria. Now elements from position loss of whenever, for example, a person is having very high position in company, like he is a CEO of that company, or someone is a principal of some college. This is nothing but a position, and when suddenly position get lost, okay, that position lost because of some issues or anything, which leads to a shame, which leads to a anger, which leads to a sadness, and that things gives a lot of complaint in this patient. Elements from owner wounded means what? Pride, self respect get hurt. Okay, and owner is really very important thing in this patient. If you are going to look towards this patient, about their owner or their pride or their image is really very important part for this patient. If this owner is going to get hurt, or the self respect is going to get hurt, this patient will cannot handle this things, and they will have lot of physical and mental trouble with these complaints. Okay, element from suppressed anger, especially females who are having lot of anger regarding in their family because of some issues, and they cannot say it or they cannot express it. That suppression leads to a lot of problem. That suppression leads to a lot of problem and leads to, it can go towards the infertility. So anger should not be suppressed in any form. Okay, you should not suppress anger for anything. You can directly say or you can handle the things very calmly, but you should not suppress anger, or you should teach your patients to not to suppress anger. Okay, so this is about the elements from of Staphysagria. Now why this state come up, why these things come up, why this disposition, or why this anger or suppressed anger, or owner get wounded, or self respect get hurt, or this pride or mortification, indignation, why these things come up. We need to understand this very properly. So basic disposition of Staphysagria is morbidly sensitive. These people are really very sensitive. You cannot say a single thing about them. They are so sensitive. They are so sensitive. A small slight hurt or small thing or small matter, according to you, can be really very big or really very important issue for them. Okay, Staph is very sensitive to what others says to him. Okay, whatever other people are going to says to him, they really become very sensitive. The feeling seems to be that his survival depends upon the maintaining very high reputation and self control of being very superior. What happened, the feeling of this Staphysagria, if you are going to look towards their feeling or their survival, their life is depend upon maintaining very high reputation and high image and self control being very superior. So they try to control their self to maintain their image, to maintain their high reputation. They control themselves, they be very superior. They are really very calm and dignified, and a person who wins their respect all by his noble action, a person who is much above the ordinary. These people are really not very ordinary. Huh? Let me tell you, these people are really very highly noble. Okay, what do you mean by noble? Noble means having very high thought process and very noble actions. If you are going to look towards the Staphysagria child, na, these people, I did not say that they are really very, I will not say that they are really very intelligent. I will rather say they are really very noble. Okay, they are having very high moral values, and this matters a lot in a life. Okay, and for them, this noble actions and this self respect and dignity, their reputation really matters a lot. Their survival is depend on these things. So they are always calm, they are dignified, and they because of their dignity and their high reputation, their calmness, they wins respect from all. Okay, they wins respect from all. Everyone respect them because of their noble action, and these people are really much above the ordinary. These people, if you are going to look towards them, they are not ordinary. You will not say these people are ordinary. If anything happens, you will feel anger, you will shout, but they will not shout. They will calmly sort out the things, and so they become noble, so they become superior, and so they become extraordinary. They are not ordinary. Okay, so this is the basic disposition. And what happen if there is a mortification, if there is a indignation in such patient, such dignified, such calm, such repetitive, such superior, such extraordinary people, if such any indignation and mortification occurs, they will suffer a lot. Okay, so basic disposition is like this. So any element from factor comes up in their life will lead to a lot of complaints. Okay, so this is about the basic disposition of your Staphysagria. Now we'll move toward further slide. Reaction of Staphysagria when it is out of control. I really required a clip to show you, but I had try to frame that in the words. Okay, so there is a trembling in anger. This patient really tremble a lot. There is a lot of trembling in the anger. Voice lost during anger. These people really cannot speak it out. Okay, because they try to maintain their position, they really cannot speak. Okay, so voice lost during anger, face become red in anger, just like a belladonna. There is lot of redness and flushed face. Okay, weakness after anger. This such dramatic, such a lot of exhaustive anger which leads to a weakness. Anger, in anger, this patient try to throw the things away. These people really throws the things away. Okay, so you will get such complaints, such anger you will get in this patient. If you are going to look such anger, you will think about the tarantula or platina, but Staphysagria can have such type of anger. Now you will say they are really very calm, they are really very dignified, then why they need, how can they express their anger in such way? Whenever anger is suppressed at particular point, this anger is going to get burst out, and whenever it is going to get burst out, it will show off, or the reaction will like this. Okay, the last point is like this. So you cannot suppress it. Okay, so you have to tell your patient you should not suppress your anger in this way. Now Kent's statement, let me tell you about the Kent, what Kent said about this remedy. He told us about one case, and we will understand that case first. The gentleman come in contact with one beneath his situation, and alteration takes place, an argument which end in an insult, and gentleman turn in his back on other. He goes home and suffers. He does not speak it out, output control it, and then suffer from it. One man was going with some um, at station, and something takes place, and he that ends and that result in the arguments. Okay, some argument takes place, which this argument ends in the insult of this man. This man get insulted in front of all, and he cannot speak it out, he cannot speak, he cannot say anything. And the output, because he cannot say it, it really lead to a suppression of anger. Okay, and because of that suppression, he feel that he is going to be suffer, and he really suffered with it. What happened to him? He has a sleepless night and many days of fatigue and brain fag. There is lot of brain fag where you cannot think. Brain fag means you cannot think properly, you cannot write properly, you need some stimulant from for brain, which this man required. For days and week he cannot add or subtract, make mistake while writing and speaking, has irritability of bladder and colic, etc. So this person have a lot of complaints like brain fag for days and weeks. He cannot subtract, he cannot make subtraction and addition in the numbers. He have mistakes, he find out the mistake while writing or speaking, and also he was having irritability of bladder and colic. There is lot of loss of memory with sense of weight between the eyes. There is loss of memory, cannot memorize the things, cannot remember the things, with the sense of weight between the eyes. It is difficult to say whether this is a feeling in head or an effort describe a dullness of mind. Okay, uh, he even cannot describe that he is having dullness of mind, it become very dull, or he cannot describe this is a feeling in his head. Okay, so this was the case of Kent. So, and after Staphysagria, when Staphysagria was given, this patient become normal. Okay, so whenever insult come up, or whenever indignation come up, whenever mortification takes place, these things can occur with the Staphysagria, because their basic disposition is like that. Okay, now sexuality in Staphysagria. Sexuality, this is really important part, because as I told you, this is important remedy in female and male genital organ. Suppression of urge in sexual sphere. There is timidity, there is cowardness, there is guilty feeling, there is shame. Dwells on sexual matters, and then there is a tendency to masturbation. Due to this, there is extreme neurotic anxiety with feeling that someone is behind him, and so he is constantly look back. Okay, what happened? There is suppression. Okay, they try to suppress their sexual urge, and which leads to timidity. They cannot. They become very timid. They become very shy. Okay, they become very coward. And which leads to guilty feeling. Okay, there is a lot of guilty feeling, guilt. There is a shame about this this urge. Okay, and which leads to lot of complaint. Now because of there is always sexual urge, and they try to suppress it. Okay, so because of these things they dwells on sexual matters, and because of their suppression, the urge that they cannot suppress, there is tendency to masturbation. They cannot say anyone about their this urge, and they have to get over that suppression, so they try to go for a masturbation. Okay, and due to they understand that this is wrong and this is not good, and they got it that I should not go for this, so there is again a guilty feeling. Okay, and due to this there is extreme neurotic anxiety. They have that extreme neurotic anxiety with the feeling that someone is behind him. They have constant feeling, that continuous feeling that someone is behind him, and they try to look back. Okay, they constantly look back. This is about the sexuality in the Staphysagria. We'll move further. Owing his bad habits, the boy become apathetic, gloomy, and this is very complexion and sunken face. He rather prefers solitude and shy towards the opposite sex. Okay, they understand this is bad habit. Okay, they really got it that this is really very bad, and they become apathetic, means showing of feeling no interest. They have no interest, they have no enthusiasm or no concern about anything. They become gloomy, they become sad, and this very complexion and sunken face, they have such sunken face, and they rather prefer a solitude. They want to be alone. Okay, prefers a solitude means they want to be alone. They prefer to be alone, and they become very shy towards the opposite sex. Because this suppression of the sexual desires, they become very shy. Okay, towards the opposite sex. We'll move further. He is very timid and cowardly, has feeling of guilt. They become very timid, they have a lot of timidity. Because of these things they become very cowed. Okay, and have a feeling of a guilt. Because of these things they have lot of guilty feeling. They understand that they are wrong, so there is a guilty feeling. If a person having such a noble action, such high reputation, and they had done something wrong, that they know they had done something wrong, they are going to feel guilty. Okay, so there is a guilty feeling. He cannot express his increased sexual desire directly for fear of being hurt or out of sense of shame, and because of his self respect. As I told you, they really cannot express themselves in such a sensitive matter. They really cannot say anyone to anything about their sexual desire, about their expression, about their anything. They cannot express such things. Okay, because they can get hurt, or they have that strong sense of shame, and also they have their self respect. Because of their self respect they cannot say anything to anybody, right? And they try to suppress their feeling about their sexual sphere. Okay, and this leads to a lot of cowardness, their timidity, their shyness, and guilty feeling. Okay, so this is about the Staphysagria sphere. Okay, now he is therefore suppress his desire, and we get the characteristic dwells on sexual matter. Because why we get such characteristics in Staphysagria? Because having such a lot of background. Okay, they have their sexual desire, but they try to suppress it. They cannot suppress it, so they dwells on sexual matters, and there is prominent tendency to masturbation. Okay, so there is also prominent tendency to masturbation. Also there is hardening to cover up the sensitivity, as it's shown by tendency to sty and tumors. Okay, there is a hardening tendency. There is tendency to harden the tissue, or we have softening of the tissue. Opposite to that there is hardening of the tissue. Okay, they try to cover up their sensitivity, so there is tendency to form styes, so there is tendency to form chalazion, and so there is tendency to form tumors. Okay, because they try to cover up something, they try to always cover up, they try to always hide up the things. Okay, so this hiding leads to a styes and tumors and hardening of the tissues. Okay, then to control their anger and passion, they swallow the ego, and hurt become the survival mechanism for Staphysagria. So this is about the mechanism of Staphysagria: to control the anger and passion, and to swallow the ego, and hurt becomes survival mechanism of Staphysagria. They try to control their anger, they swallow their ego, and they get hurt. And they get hurt and hurt and hurt, and this is nothing but a Staphysagria. A statement for Staphysagria, try to understand it, it is really very important. Okay, staph is extreme sensitivity and reactivity, both emotionally and physically. They are really very sensitive and they really very reactive. React and respond, these are really different things. Okay, they are highly reactive, and both emotionally also they can react, and physically also they can react. If you touch staph patient at his most sensitive point, which is his honor, reputation, self respect, there is immediate and intense reaction which is suppressed. If you're going to touch, if you're going to look towards that patient in such a way that patient is really very sensitive. Okay, patient is most sensitive, like his honor, his reputation, his self respect, his pride. If you are going to touch that part, if you are going to say something about that, if you are going to pick up that point in your case taking, there is immediate and intense reaction. Okay, intense reaction, not only simple, there is intense reaction which leads to a suppression. Okay, and which again going to get suppressed, patient will not say anything to you. This suppressions leads to sty, tumors and chalazion. This is nothing but a suppression which leads to try up to hiding up their sensitivity, which leads to hardening the tissues, and there is formation of styes, chalazion and tumors. Okay, now according to Dr. Whittlecross, what Whittlecross says about this Staphysagria: in women the emotional suppression result into state of sweet and resignation, a kind of timidity. Okay, what happened in women, they are having lot of emotional imbalance. Okay, especially in women, there is lot of emotional suppression and result into state of sweet and resignation, a kind of timidity. There is always a kind of timidity which you will going to get in this remedy, and sweet and resignation, they are always sweet, and they just avoid those things. Okay, these things you are going to get in women. In men, what happen in men, this sensitivity may not be so obvious to outside the world. They may appear masculine, even hard, but inside they experience the same kind delicate sensitivity and romantic vulnerability. These people, if you are going to look towards the male, okay, they are really very obvious. They are really very masculine, they are really very hard, they are really very angry, they will show such things towards the world. Okay, but inside, if you are going to look toward them inside, basically inside they are really very delicate, really very sensitive, especially emotionally they are really very sensitive, and there is a romantic vulnerability. They become vulnerable towards such romantic situations. Okay, so I don't know you are going to understand this or not. A male person who is really very hard uh, by nature, by very angry, very very arrogant and aggressive, but basically he is really very romantic and delicate and sensitive. Okay, so such type of picture you will get in this Staphysagria. The Staphysagria patient is never egoistical, harsh or proud. These people cannot be egoistic, they cannot be harsh, or they cannot be proud. The Staphysagria patient feel unable to fight even for her own rights. Even when someone treat her unjustly, she will not fight back. She swallows her indignation. But the key distinct in Staphysagria, there is no bitterness. Okay, Staphysagria patient, they are really very sensitive, Okay, but they are not very hard, they cannot be stubborn like silicea, they cannot be stubborn like causticum. If causticum, if you are going to look towards the causticum, any unjustifiable things, any injustice, they will fight. Okay, but here Staphysagria, she cannot even fight for even her own rights. Okay, she don't fight for her own rights. Even when someone treated her so badly, so unjustly, she will not fight back. She try to swallows her indignation, she just swallows her indignation, she just swallows her anger, and that's it. But what is important, they will not at all show any bitterness. Okay, she is always sweet to that person who had treated her unjustly or unevenly. Staphysagria is one of the several remedies which are characterized by elements from grief. Again, if you are going to look towards the grief, you will get this remedy. Against Staphysagria, there is kind of sweetness in the face of grief. Sweetness, you will get that sweetness only and only in Staphysagria. Okay, that Staphysagria having that sweetness which leads to, which shows you there is lot of problems behind that sweet face. Okay, very become very no, there are very noble action, they really very normal, they try to show they are really very normal, and they are not going to show anything in first sitting or in the first case taking. They will not say anything, they will try to hide their emotions, and such emotional vulnerability, such hiding of emotion you will going to get in Staphysagria. Uh, there is bitterness, there is no bitterness at all you will get in this remedy. There is sweetness on the face. Okay, there is lot of grief, these people are going to having such complaints, but they will not show such things, they try to swallow such things, swallow that their indignation and their anger. They cannot say anything to the person who had treated her or him very badly. Okay, now keynotes, we'll move further towards the keynotes. For the bad effects of sexual onanism, sexual excesses and loss of vital foods, chagrin, mortification, and unmerited insults. Okay, now if you are going to look towards the this remedy, there is really very bad effects of sexual onanism. Onanism means masturbation. Okay, masturbation leads to a lot of complaints, and there is sexual excesses. Okay, sexual, lot of sexual excesses which leads to a complaints, loss of vital fluids. If you are going to look towards this patient, there is lot of loss of vital fluids. They are having diarrhea, or they can have vomiting, and because of that vomiting or diarrhea, there is loss of vital fluids, there is chagrin, there is mortification, and unmerited insult. Now, what do you mean by chagrin? Distress of a mind which caused by humiliation. This patient really feel humiliated, but they cannot speak it out. Okay, there is distress of a mind. Their mind become distressed. They cannot have anything which they cannot can share, or there is no one with them with they can share, so there is distress of mind, and that causes lot of humiliation. Okay, and there is sexual excesses. Okay, there is indignation with vexation or reserved displeasure for the mental effects of amnesm and sexual excesses. Now this, again, I told you about the indignation and reserved displeasure. They cannot feel the pleasure for the mental effects of onanism and sexual excesses, very sensitive to slight mental impression, least action, or harmless words often. Uh, these patients really have harmless words. Okay, very harmless word. You will feel that is really very harmless. He or she should not feel anything bad about it, but these people will feel bad about it, and not only bad, they will feel really very hurt about it. Okay, and such type of sensitivity you will get in this remedy. There is great indignation about the things done by others or by himself, grieves about the consequences, there is always grieves about the consequences, and great indignation. There is lot of anger, there is lot of annoyance about the things done by other people are doing something annoying things, and by themselves also they feel really very bad. They are really very apathetic, indifferent, low spirited, and weak memory from sexual abuses. They are having such weak memory from sexual abuses. Again, let me tell you, a weak memory due to masturbation, early ejaculation due to masturbation are the common complaints which you are going to get in a melopedy. Okay. Mm. They are really very low spirited, they are really very indifferent, they become indifferent like Staphysagria, and apathetic. They really don't have any interest, any concern about anything. They are not at all enthusiastic. Ill humored children cry for the after receiving. They petulantly push throw away. Petulantly means childishly or sulky or bad temper. Okay. In anger they throw away those things which they want, or which for which they are crying a lot. Okay. They was insulted being dignified to fight, subdue his worth, and went home sick, trembling and exhausted. Okay. Mm. If they are going to get insulted or they cannot fight, and their dignity lost or their pride lost, they lead such complaints. Okay. They are they are having lot of craving for tobacco. Now again, this remedy is a marked remedy to cover up the this addiction of tobacco. Okay. Extreme hunger, even when stomach is full of food, there is lot of hungriness, or they feel really very hungry. Okay. When stomach is full, also they are going to get hungry. Sleepy all day, awake all night, body aches all over. They feel sleepy for all day, as we feel in a lecture or classroom, and they feel awake all night. They will not sleep early in night, just like hostelites. And there is lot of body ache, at all body ache all over. Their body really aches all over for bad effects of injuries from sharp cutting instruments and post surgical operation. As I told you, I had used this remedy in LSCS. Okay. After LSCS, I had given this remedy to the patient to relieve from the pain. Okay. Sharp cutting instruments, if you are going to take any instrument for cutting purpose in LSCS or in any operative procedure, look towards that scalpel, look towards that instrument. It is really very sharp. Okay. And such injuries leads to a lot of neuralgic pain, and this neuralgic pain will get suppressed or get relieved by this remedy. Not suppressed, this pain will get relieved by this remedy. There is stars on chalazion on the eyelids, leaving hard nodosities. There is hard nodosities after sty and chalazion. Toothache during menses. During menses, these ladies are going to get toothache. If there is toothache during menses, just don't look for anything, give her Staphysagria. There is intolerable urging to urinate. Still, patient has to wait for long time to pass urine with subsequent burning in urethra. Okay. There is intolerable urging to urinate. They really feel intolerable urge. Still, this patient have to wait for long time to pass. Okay. Really having urge to urinate, but they really cannot pass to urine very suddenly. Okay. There is subsequent burning in urethra. There is lot of burning in urethra. Persistently dwelling on sexual subject. Cough only in daytime, excited by cleaning teeth and by tobacco smoke. Cough due to tobacco smoke. Cough after brushing is the keynote of this Staphysagria. You get such complaints in patients. Cough after दात घासल्या घासल्या लगेच खोकला येतो. Cough after teething, cough after brushing, and tobacco smoke. If there is a tobacco smoke, this patient will get a lot of cough. Okay. Such keynote you will get in Staphysagria. Now we'll move towards further modalities. Aggravation by mental affections from anger, indignation, grief, mortification. Aggravation by loss of vital fluids. Aggravation with tobacco. Aggravation with onanism, sexual excesses. Aggravation from touch on affected part. both were touched on affected part mentally and touch from affected part physically. What do you mean by touch from affected part? uh, Mentally means you are going to touch that part, you are going to open up that sensitive matter in those patient. Okay, that is touch from affected part mentally, and touch from, yeah, physically you are going to touch any affected area which leads to aggravation. Amelioration from warmth, amelioration from rest, amelioration after having breakfast, and amelioration by caution. Okay, now you, if you are going to relate this remedy, whom you will relate, you have to compare this remedy with causticum, colocynth, ignitia, lycopodium and pulsatilla. If you are going to look towards the cyclical remedies, cyclically causticum comes first, then colocynth, and then comes staphysagria. Again after staphysagria you need to give causticum. Anemically, this remedy is inimical by ranunculus bulbosus, either before or after. If you are going to use ranunculus, staphysagria is not going to work. Okay, now let me tell you rubrics of staphysagria. Rubrics is nothing but a repertorial language of the symptoms. Okay, so elements from vexation, indignation with silent grief with suppression, suppressed anger, embarrassment, honor wounded, rudeness of others, disappointments and grief, mortification, position loss of, rudeness of others, conscientious, dwells on mortification after, dullness of mortification after, then labyrinthism, high places aggravates, offended easily, takes everything in bad part, sensitive rudeness, sensitive to rudeness, sorry for these mistakes, embarrassment elements after, anger throwing things away, anger tremblings with, anger violent, lascivious. Okay, so this rubrics you will get in this Staphysagria. Let me tell you about some important rubrics. Suppressed anger, suppressed embarrassment, honor wounded, mortification, position loss of, conscientious. Conscientious means what? Continuously doing those things which are really very important. If you are going to look towards the Calcarea carb is also very conscientious. Huh? They are really very lazy, but they are really very conscientious. Conscientious means what? They will, the children, let me tell you with the example, the child learns something for hours together, but whenever he is going to ask about that part, he can say it in at any time. Okay, such perfectness come up in their picture, but they take lot of time. Okay, that is conscientiousness. Then lascivious is become very important rubric in the staphysagria. Lasciviousness is also, you are going to get lasciviousness in hyoscyamus or stramonium, but again staphysagria is very important remedy for this lasciviousness, but there is some nobility, or but there is some high reputation. Okay, and then we will move towards the boric view about this remedy. Okay, we'll understand particular symptoms by boric. First, head, stupefying headache passes off with yawning. Okay, if this patient get yawning, the headache passes off. Brain feel as if squeezed, sensation of balls of lids in a forehead. If you are going to look towards that case which was told by Dr. Kent, there is sensation of heaviness or sensation of ball of lid in the forehead, itching eruption above and behind ears. There is itching and eruptions above and behind ears. Oleander again remedy for these complaints. Eyes, there is heat in eyeballs, dims spectacles, recurrent stye, chalazion. Eyes get sunken with blurrings, margin of lids get itched, affection of angles of eyes, particularly inner angles. Lacerated or incised wound of the cornea, bursting pain in eyeballs of syphilitic iritis. If you are going to look towards the eye complaints really become very important in this remedy. There is heat in eyeballs, there is dimness spectacles, and there is recurrent stye and chalazion. As I told you, this is very specific remedy for your uh, this chalazion and styes. Okay, they are having lot of continuous stye and continuous chalazion. Eye becomes sunken with blurrings. The margin, lid margin, they itch. There is lot of itching in the lid margin, and then try to scratch it. There is affection of angles of the eye. Angles of eye, there is something ulceration or some cutting pains or some cuts you will get at the angles of eye, particularly inner angle, okay, not outer angle, particularly inner angle. There is lot of ulcerations you will get. There is lacerated or incised wound of the cornea, okay. Corneal ulcer, again this Staphysagria is the remedy for your corneal ulcer. A bursting pain in the eyeball of syphilitic iritis. There is bursting, there is continuous bursting pain in the eyeball and syphilitic iritis. Throat, there is stitches flying to the inner ear or swallowing, especially left. Okay. In throat, there is stitching pain. Okay, there is continuous pricking pain flying to the ear on swallowing. If patient try to swallow something, while during swallowing, stitches come from the ear and they go in the throat. Such stitching pain you will get while swallowing, especially left sided. Left sided you will get such type of complaints. Now mouth, there is toothache during menses. Teeth become black and crumbling. There is crumbling teeth. Saliva is spongy. There is gum bleed easily. Murk, creosote. Again, this use this remedy for such complaints. There is spongy gum which bleed very easily. There is submaxillary glands which are really very swollen. After eating, they feel sleepy, and there is pyorrhea. Okay, pyorrhea. If you are going to get any complaints like pyorrhea or caries or bad breath, you have to use Plantago. Okay, Plantago mother tincture will gives you a lot of relief. Stomach, there is flabbiness and weakness of stomach. Desire for stimulants, they really desire for stimulants. Stimulants, it can be tea, coffee or alcohol. Okay, stomach feel relaxed. Craving for tobacco, yes, these people having lot of craving for tobacco. There is canine hunger, they have lot of hunger, ravenous hunger. They can eat after just having meal. Okay, even when stomach is full, they can be hungry. Nausea after abdominal operations, just after abdominal operation they are having lot of nausea. Okay, then abdomen, there is colic after anger, hot flatness, a swollen abdomen in children with much flatus. Okay, flatus complaints, or if there is lot of flatus or flatulence, you can use the Staphysagria with pelvic tenesmus. Severe pain following an abdominal operation, incapacitated flatus, diarrhea after drinking cold water with tenesmus, constipation. Two tincture at night and 2 drops of tincture, 2 drops of mother tincture at night and at morning. Constipation will relieve like anything. Okay. Hemorrhoids, this remedy can be used for hemorrhoids with enlargement of prostate. With glandular affections, there is a hemorrhoid, you can use this remedy. There is lot of pain, there is lot of hot flatters, there is lot of flatulence, pelvic tenesmus, and severe pain following abdominal operations. Male, especially after self abuse, persistent dwelling on sexual subjects, spermatorrhea with sunken feature, guilty look, emissions with backache and weakness of sexual neurasthenia, dyspnea after caution. We have discussed this part very properly. Female parts are very sensitive, worse sitting down. If they are going to get sit down, they are the pain really become worse. Okay, irritable bladder in young married women, so this remedy is important remedy, indicated remedy for honeymoon cystitis. Leukorrhea, prolapses with sinking in the abdomen, aching around the hips. Urinary cystocele locally and internally. You will get local cystocele or internal cystocele. Cystitis in lying in patient. Okay. Ineffectual urging to urinate in newly married woman. Pressure upon the bladder feels as if it did not empty. Sensation as if drop of urine were rolling continuously along the channel. Burning in urethra during micturition. There is continuous sensation as if drop of urine is continuously rolling. Okay, continuously rolling through bladder, through urethra. Okay, there is such type of sensation. There is burning urethra during micturition. Prostatic troubles are there. Frequent urination. Burning in urethra when not urinating. If there is burning in urethra when not urinating, thuja sabadilla ferrum picric is the remedy. Okay. Again, continuous burning, Staphysagria is the remedy. Urging and pain after urinating, pain after lithotomy. Lithotomy, after lithotomy position, they will get lot of pain in urinary part. Skin, there is eczema of head, ears, face and body, thick scabs, dry and itch violently. Lot of itching. You cannot handle that itching. Intense itching you will get in this Staphysagria. Scratching changes location of itching. If this patient is going to itch at one part, they will get scratch at one part. They will get itching at another part. They need to scratch at that another part. Again, they have again that itching change this that position, and they get again they need to scratch again at another part. Okay, there is pigwort there that are pedunculated. You can use tuja again for this type of complaints. Arthritic nodes, inflammatory phalanges and night sweat. Inflammation of phalanges, if you are going to get arthritic nodes, especially in rheumatic arthritis, you will get that nodes. Okay, inflammation of phalanges and night sweat. Night sweat is the common complaints of Staphysagria. Extremities, muscles, especially of calves, feel bruised, backache worse in morning before rising, extremities feel beaten and painful, joints stiff, cruel neuralgia and dull aching of nuts, extending to hip joint and small back. Okay, there is continuous dull aching at nates extending to hip joints and small back. Continuous pain, okay, in hip joint and lower back. So this is all about today's lecture. We had completed our Staphysagria in this lecture. If anyone have any query about this, please let me know. I will revise this lecture again for you in very small, in very few minutes. Okay, in very small way. Okay. So we'll start with the introduction. Common name Staphysacrisis, family Ranunculaceae, proved Dr. Hahnemann. Temperament is melancholic. Thermally, this patient are chilly. Miasm is sauropsychotic. There are sphere of action on mind, on genitourinary organ, on joints, gastrointestinal tract, skin, nerves, fibrous tissue, and glands affection. There is toothache. Toothache is seen in during menses. Okay, genitourinary organ of male and female both are really very important. Constitution, especially they are worn out, exhausted, and brain fag is there, spinal cord is weakened, face is rather sunken, there is bluish ring around the eyes with guilty and abashed idiotic look. Okay, and they are having warts and unhealthy skin. There is element from indignation, mortification, possession loss of honor wounded and suppressed anger. Because of their morbidly sensitive basic disposition, these complaints come up. Basically, they are really very calm, dignified, having very superior and much above ordinary person. In anger, they are really anger is really very trembling in anger, voice lost during anger, face become red, weakness after anger, and in anger they try to throw the things away. Sexual sphere is really very important. Suppression of sexual urge, timidity, coward, guilty, shame, dwells on sexual matter, and there is a tendency to masturbation. They are very timid, cowardly feeling, having feeling of a guilt and shame. They really cannot express their feeling about sexual desire because out of sense of shame or because they are going to get hurt or because of their self-respect. Because of their suppression we get that character is that dwells on sexual matter and there is a tendency to masturbation. Then to control the anger and passion, to swallow the ego and hurt becomes survival mechanism for Staphysagria. What are the statements? Staph is extremely sensitive and reactivity both emotionally and physically. There is immediate and intense reaction which is suppressed when you are going to touch their most sensitive part. Suppression leads to star tumors and chalazion. Okay, these people are really very sweet. Okay, they cannot have any bitterness. There is always sweetness in the face of grief. Okay, there is indignation with vexation or reserved displeasure, very sensitive to slight mental impression, a great indignation about the things done by others or by himself. They grieves about the consequences. Ill-humored children cry for things which after receiving petulantly push throw away. Extremely hungry when stomach is really very full of food. Styes and chalazion on the eyelids. Toothache during menses. Persistently dwelling on sexual subject. Cough only in daytime, excited by cleaning teeth and tobacco smoke. Modalities aggravation with mental affection from anger, indignation, and mortification. There is loss of vital fluids lead to aggravating the complaint. Then onism, sexual excesses aggravates the complaint from touch and on affected parts. Okay, amelioration by warmth, rest, breakfast, and caution. You can compare this remedy with causticum, colocynth, ignitia, lycopodium pulsatilla, cyclical causticum, colocynth, and staphysagria, and ranuncular bulbosus is the remedy for is the inimical remedy for Staphysagria. You can use it after or before Staphysagria. It is going to gives you a um, inimical result. Okay, rubrics: suppressed anger, embarrassment, honor wounded, rudeness to other, mortification, disappointment, consent, yes, dullness and mortification, high places aggravates. These are the rubrics for your Staphysagria. So this is all about Staphysagria. We had completed this remedy. If anyone has any query, please message me personally. And this is all for today. Thank you for your patience.